Right. So for the last few months, I think I found myself in something of a creative rut. Um, Hence why I've been making fuck all YouTube videos recently. My bads. But yeah, things just weren't feeling very enjoyable. I was questioning whether I wanted to keep on doing this, to be honest, just because there were no new ideas flowing in. It was all just feeling like a bit of a chore. But I've taken some time to myself, and now I feel like I'm on the other side of this rut now. My motivation just kind of came back out of nowhere. Things are really good at the moment, and I wanted to share how I got to that point, how I broke this kind of plateau that I was in. So I define a rut as where you're just feeling really uninspired in life. Everyday tasks are just feeling super repetitive and they feel like work rather than fun. You know, the things that you used to find enjoyable just feel like hard work. And it's kind of depressing, but maybe you're viewing the hours of the day as just empty time that needs filling rather than like an opportunity to do something fun. It's just all kind of a bit pointless. And you're defaulting to things like games and TV and just like scrolling social media, which has a place, don't get me wrong. But when you're doing it, it just feels kind of cheap, just feels kind of hollow. Like you're not really enjoying it. You're just doing it because it's something to do. So I'm gonna give you 3 ways to break out of your rut. And I've written all this down as a list because I know I'm gonna have to keep coming back to this because ruts are just something that we go through and that's normal. Our motivation isn't going to be sky high all the time, but as long as we don't just quit altogether and work through it, then we'll be fine. So the first thing you need to do is change up your inputs. So we're going to add some new inputs in, and we're also going to cut out some of our existing inputs. So the first thing we're going to cut out is those cheap dopamine activities. So it's football transfer season or soccer for anyone who's interested. This is like basically where loads of players are like joining new teams. There's like constant news every single day. And these journalists on Twitter are really scraping the bottom of the barrel for content. Like they will give you like updates on the most minor things like, oh, this player told his barber that he's thinking about joining this club, even when it might just be a complete lie. But just like the amount of news that's coming out every single day is just fucking addictive for my monkey brain. Like whenever I'm bored at work or just kind of distracted, I'm just like refreshing the timeline on Twitter to just like get that like hit of dopamine. But yeah, I just feel like a junkie whenever I'm doing that and it's like not even enjoyable. Also things like games. Like a few months ago, after I came back from holiday, I think I was like looking for that like high you experience being on vacation somewhere. And I dug out my old Xbox from the cupboard and I've been really disciplined with games like over the last 5 years. I've barely touched them, but I started playing FIFA again. It's just this whole obsession with football that I have. I started playing FIFA again and like I was really into it at first, but then it kind of just became something that I did to pass the time. I wasn't really enjoying it. It was more of just a routine. This game was making me fucking angry as well. Like I was like rage quitting and all this shit. Like it wasn't even that fun of an experience. Sorry if I'm fucking rambling, but basically I realized the need to just limit all of that stuff, not cut it out of my life completely because I do enjoy it in moderation, but set some clear boundaries around it. Like at the moment I have this app on my phone which blocks things like Twitter and Reddit for most of the day. And then I can access them between the hours of 7 and 10 o'clock. So if I want to binge all this football related stuff, then I can. And I've also like put my Xbox back in the cupboard because FIFA is just no good to me. It just makes me angry. But if I want to play some games like every once in a while, maybe a chill story game or on my PC, like just a little indie game, then I'm giving myself the freedom to do that as well, but only at the end of the day after I've done some real work. So just think about like how we can maybe limit all of that cheap dopamine. We don't have to get rid of it entirely. We just got to kind of place some healthy boundaries on it. In terms of the inputs that we're going to add in, we want to actually try some new casual kind of hobbies. We just want to try some new stuff. And I know some people are probably thinking, but I'm procrastinating to the point where I'm not getting any of my important work done, the things that I need to do. So why would I want to add some like unproductive stuff in? Why am I going to fill my day even more with stuff that I don't need to do when I can't do what I actually need to do? Which makes sense, but I think when we're in this really pressurized mindset where we need to get this work done, it really stifles our creativity. It stops us from coming up with new ideas just because it feels so serious. It's like something that it's like a life or death situation. And we're too stressed out to kind of actually come up with some fresh ideas. And there's no room for enjoyment in our work, which is wrong, because there's always going to be parts of work that we don't enjoy. But I think it's reasonable to expect that we enjoy at least some of it. But when we explore these kind of unproductive hobbies in our free time, like things that really are quite casual, where there isn't that pressure or fear of judgment to get it right, that really does allow our brain to kind of cool off and get back to enjoying the process of doing the thing rather than like it being attached to a particular outcome. So what do I mean by this? So anything that just involves creating something without there being a clear goal in mind, like I'm doing this for money or views, really just something that's going to allow you to like relax and enjoy the experience of doing it rather than thinking about like an endpoint. So I've gone back into cooking. I've just been scrolling through these random food magazines and pointing out things that I want to cook. And that's been like a really nice process. You kind of get to experiment and have fun with stuff like that. Like, I'm not a very good cook. I know I'm gonna fuck up all these dishes, but it's kind of messing up and experimenting is part of the fun, because you never really know how it's gonna turn out. Also things just learning about random topics like fucking aliens, and I was listening to this podcast about hacking, just kind of exposing my brain to new ideas and seeing what comes up. Even just fucking building Lego on my floor, or like listening to some new music. It just feels like it's kind of opening my mind up, and I'm actually enjoying it. Like, unlike things like fucking refreshing my Twitter timeline. And as I said, I'm relearning to enjoy the process of doing something. And I've applied that to my YouTube and the rest of my work. It's like I'm focusing less on the outcome and more on just actually having fun with the process of making videos or doing a particular work task. And it just all feels like a lot less serious, and life is just less stressful. And then kind of a bonus tip for changing up your inputs: instead of just changing up our routines, we can hold the same routines but just change the environment. So like sitting at this desk here writing out a YouTube video, for some reason I just get insane writer's block. It's like my brain has this built-in association with this desk of like feelings of boredom and like mental fatigue. I don't know what it is. But if I go and work in a cafe or work in the library, or like I'm overlooking somewhere with a nice view, it's like everything changes. It's like I no longer have that writer's block. I'm feeling a lot more inspired. I've even just been like working on my laptop, sitting on the floor in my room or sitting on my bed. And that just seems to change everything. Like, I don't exactly know how this works, but this has been like really, really effective for me, just changing the environment up. So that's something else you can try. So the second thing we can do to get out of a rut is go back and figure out why. So a lot of people seem to think the solution to getting out of a rut is to just be more disciplined. You know, you're only in a rut because you're lazy and you can't bring yourself to do the same task over and over again every day, which just feels like insanity to me, because discipline is actually meaningless when you don't have clarity and direction over why you're doing something. You know, forcing yourself to follow the same routines and patterns every day without knowing why you're doing them is just meaningless. It's just busy work, because it's actually purpose and having a very clear and strong why as to why you're doing something that allows you the strength to be disciplined. It feels like it's worthwhile. You know, you're clear on why you're working towards something, and that's energizing. That gives you the fuel to just wake up in the morning before your 9 to 5 and just get on with it. So I was very much in a position where I'd lost touch with my why, the reasons I was kind of making all these videos. And you know, what's my end game with this? What do I actually want? Because I had some vague reasons in mind, like obviously it would be nice to earn enough money to go elsewhere, to move out and, you know, explore the world. But it was never really anything that specific. And to be honest, it was never really that motivating, because all of that just seems so far away. So I wrote down a big list of reasons as to why I'm doing this, as to why I make these videos. And things like money did come up, but also things like getting the chance to solve problems that I really struggled with back in the day, and things that I know for a fact other people are really struggling with right now. So sounds corny, but actually getting to make a difference. And also when it came to the types of videos I was making, like if you watch me, you'll know I make I make videos about social skills and being confident and coming out of your shell. I kind of had this realization that I get to make videos about things that I'm genuinely curious to know more about. I get to solve the problems that I'm actually experiencing in my life. This video right here, this was a problem, a very, very real problem for me that I was going through. And I get to like learn how to fix it and then share the solution. Like that feels quite powerful to me. It's kind of like an adventurous mindset. I'm learning all these like really cool ideas, and then I get to actually field test them. I get to see if they work. I'm kind of playing and experimenting. There's definitely something to that. And also it's like I'm learning this set of skills which would allow me to go anywhere in the world, to have to experience that freedom and be able to just make friends and have a great time wherever I go. That was just like, that was like a light bulb moment for me. It's like, wow, that's fucking incredible. And it's kind of influenced me I've like booked my first solo trip. I'm going away for the first time on my own. And I'm like, I'm going to be relying on this set of skills that I've learned to meet people and just have a great time. So yeah, sorry about the tangent there, but I hope you can see how excited all of this made me, and that really like renewed my motivation for working on videos and for learning. So absolutely nothing wrong with just taking some time to yourself to figure out why you're actually doing this, or even whether it's right for you, because it might not be, whether it's your job or maybe a hobby that you're taking more seriously. We kind of do lose passion at different points in our life, and that's fine, but we always have the ability to change directions if we need to. So the third thing we can do to get out of a rut is reduce the friction that it takes to actually get work done. So there are always going to be days where, as much as we know we should be getting on with our work, we can't help but procrastinate. We just can't bring ourselves to do it. And that really adds to this whole guilt shame cycle. You just think, why am I so fucking lazy? Why can't I have more discipline? Why can't I just do the work? And I think we all know deep down that never really helps. That's never really going to get us to do the work, because there is some kind of like mental blockage that maybe we don't understand yet, which is preventing us from sitting down and doing the work. So something really important that I learned was, in order to stop ourselves from going back into a rut, it is really important that we keep showing up every day, that we keep that streak of momentum going, because we do end up falling into ruts when we take multiple days off. And the idea of showing up daily is a scary thought to me, and it was at the time when I learned about this. But what we can also do is we can just set the bar so extremely low for the amount of time we actually show up for. So I'm not even joking when I say this. For the last maybe 2 months, there have been some days where I show up and only do 15 minutes. I just set like a timer on Google. I do 15 minutes of work. Sometimes I just stop there. Sometimes that's it, like 15 minutes of learning, then I'm done. Of course, other times I get to the end of the 15 minutes and I think actually I can do more. Maybe I'll do half an hour today. Maybe I'll do 45 minutes. But the point is, I'm breaking it up into these manageable 15-minute chunks. And it's like any day of the week, it doesn't really matter how you feel or how late it is. We never really have an excuse not to do 15 minutes. 15 minutes just feels so small that whatever excuse enters our mind is like outweighed by the fact that it's 15 minutes. It's 15 fucking minutes. We can do that if nothing else. And then the other really important thing is to just think about how you actually want to work. Because I got to a point where I was spending like hours and hours just in my room writing these fat ass scripts, and the videos were doing well. The videos were getting a lot of views, but I was also posting quite inconsistently, and the whole thing just felt like a chore. Like if I was ever planning to go full time with this, then why would I want it to feel like even more boring than the most boring 9 to 5? Because that's how it felt for me. It just wasn't even enjoyable. Do I really want to be doing that? Or do I want to be spending more time actually living life, being out of the house, having life experiences, coming up with stories to talk about, and then kind of just hopping on camera and freestyling it, sharing my stories and what I learned, but in like a very low stakes, low pressure way? Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking, to be honest. Like, I think maybe I was focused on making every upload perfect, even though that wasn't really sustainable for me. But this style of video just really works a lot better for me, and hopefully you're enjoying it as well. And also, I know this is a luxury that not all of us will get with our 9 to 5, But if we have a certain level of freedom in our jobs or in our personal time to explore topics that we're actually interested in, to solve problems that mean something that we're actually interested in solving, that is a whole lot more fulfilling than just doing work that you don't even care about. Even if like the nature of your work is kind of boring, look for those little things that you can get passionate and excited about. Like, what little challenges can you set yourselves? What do you want to know more about? What can you like allow yourself to just get lost in? What topics actually mean something to you? Something quite interesting is that I know people who do these finance jobs, who work in private equity, where their whole job is to just make billionaires richer, to grow the funds of these corporations. And whilst they get paid really well, they just don't find that job fulfilling at all. It's kind of soul destroying for them. It feels like they're contributing to like a net negative in the world. Some people don't care about that, and that's fine, do what you want. But there's one guy I know he's despite him getting paid like a ridiculous amount of money for someone my age, he's thinking about leaving and just becoming a school teacher because he wants that fulfillment. So again, not everyone will have that level of freedom in life, but we do have a choice about the kinds of problems that we solve. You know, some jobs which pay very well are just mind-numbingly boring, and then other jobs which don't pay so well give you that spiritual fulfillment, and they're energizing every single day of your life. Ideally, we could strike a balance between the two of them. But again, just my random thoughts on that. But yeah, to round up, if you keep going through these steps, I guarantee you'll see the end of this rut within the month, maybe even sooner than that. And yeah, I'm just really, really enjoying life at the moment. I'm feeling very inspired, very creative. It's just a much more enjoyable way to live. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.